the more connected you are to God or in that relation, the more invested you are in that relationship, that determines what you will and will not do. Like, because that relationship empowers us. That's why I've started this whole thing. Like, I just really believe in empowerment because it changes the whole trajectory of our life. If I'm in a good relationship with God, if I'm in a good relationship with self, then I'm probably gonna make good decisions. And so that relationship is, I just think it is the bottom line.
Right.
What is that like? How am I feeding that? Whether I go to a church building or not.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
The first thing I want to say is thank you so much for being a part of this conversation with me today. I'm so excited. We have so much history of just sharing with each other, and really talking about things of a positive nature for a long time. And if I remember correctly, the first time even though we both are from the same hometown, I think you had went away to the military and came back. And I think you and I met maybe officially like at a little Hart County High School basketball game, if I'm remembering correctly.
You're correct. That's right.
And I remember that night we had a long conversation in the parking lot, just about things that were happening at that time and just a lot of great things. So we like 40-something years out and we still having those same sort of connections.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm excited. Thank you so much for being a part of this. And just to kind of jump things off, just to, make people aware of where you are in your life. If I'm understanding correctly, I think that by profession, you are a student leader, a student mentor. I think you work with kids in ages 6, 7, and 8. Is that correct?
Grades, yes.
Yeah.
Grades 6, 7, and 8.
So can you kind of tell us about what kind of led you to that position and what it is that's most exciting to you about that position?
Okay. That latter part of the question that you asked, what led me to the position in my life is based on experiences. And right now it's all about the students. I've sat in their seats. I know the different challenges that they may face from day to day, week to week, month to month, year after year. And I've sat in those same seats with these students. Currently, I'm a teacher leader. I'm a mentor teacher, department chairperson. I'm student support team chairperson. And I still enjoy very much just working with students. So this is my 9th year. I really made the transition into education based off of students, just always being a coach, being able to communicate with young kids and even young adults. So that has led me to this position, which I thoroughly enjoy to this day.
Yeah, I can really see you as a coach, like even early in your life. I think you played sports. You were I'm sure you were a scholar athlete.
Yes,
I'm thinking correctly about that, I know.
Yeah.
So coaching has been a part of, just innately a part of you. Because even in this community, even when you were younger, you were, people looked up to you.
Right.
They always
Right.
have looked up to you. So you've been coaching for a long time. So what is it you think you possess that put that desire in you to coach or to lead others? Because I don't even think you do it like by something that you think about. It's just
Right.
something that you naturally do. Because I know people naturally look up to you. So what it is that you think is about you that makes that true for you?
The authenticity, being real, living in real world experiences, growing up, even in the neighborhood, the community. When we all got together as kids and we played ball and we had so much fun doing that, and it was just natural for me to just, as I grew up, to just continue to feel like this is something that's within me, but it's not anything that's rehearsed, as you had mentioned, or practiced. It's just something that's in me. And what that does is just me. It shows me that, you know, all examples aren't great examples, but I do lead by examples. So finding out that what didn't work for me initially growing up, what wasn't good for me, what was challenging for me, I did learn from those mistakes as challenges. I learned from all of it. And what I've learned is that even though we all have experiences that we go through, good and bad, you know, it's all about learning and growing. And so just for me to be a natural born leader, you know, I just think it all comes within the real world experiences. Yeah.
So who has been like an inspiration for you? Like, do you have like a person that you look up to, somebody that you said, man, I really admire how they carry themselves?
That's a great question also. My dad, initially it was my dad. I remember being younger. I would say junior high school. I remember him working the second or third shift, and I knew that he was a supervisor. I knew that he led people, but I would be fascinated by his attire, what he wore to work.
Yeah.
So I would go into his room and look in his closet, and I would say to myself, one day I'm going to be a supervisor. One day I'm just going to be dressed nice and go to work dressed nice. And I've always, that even led me to want to dress nice to this day. And that's been several years ago. But my dad initially, and still is, I mean, he's just the one who's a comedian. He's one, I told him not too long ago that I didn't know he was this funny growing up. I just didn't know he was that funny. I didn't. But he was being dad to me and my brothers. So, you know, he was the one who I looked up to growing up, from the male perspective.
Yeah, everybody loves being, and he is funny. He really is funny. I got a chance to really know him when I used to babysit your little niece, and so he would come pick her up and stuff like that. And I was like, God, Benny will make you laugh.
Right.
So,
truly.
But that's good to hear to hear that he was a role model for you, because a lot of young black men did not have that.
Right.
So I think that's a great way for you to honor your father, and I hope he get a chance to hear this, so that he can get his flowers while he's alive.
No doubt. No doubt.
So what really connected us, or what made me think about you on this show, is you shared with me about a texting group that you have with other men. Like, how did that come about, and what was your reasoning for putting something like that in play?
Well, it was a collaboration between me and a few other guys, and it's been several years now that we have gotten together. What we do, we travel to the Georgia-Florida game annually. We travel to the Charlotte area annually because I have a cousin of mine who's part of the group. Him and his wife, they really have these big programs, basically, that they have something for the kids every December for Christmas, and they give a lot to the kids, and we help support that. So we just do different things every month. Actually, today we're getting together at one of my other cousins' house, and we get together, we fellowship, we talk, we have fun, and we realized several years ago that life is short. We've all lost people along the way, and we just decided, you know what? As you had mentioned, we want to give each other flowers while we're here, instead of gathering after something happens, like a death or something. And so we decided several years ago to get together, communicate, travel, and we've always stuck with that. The nucleus of our group is based upon childhood, our childhood experiences. A few of us grew up in the Hart County community together. So, so we just decided, okay, as a group, also let's communicate, daily. Let's talk to each other via text, and to support and provide that the support that somebody may need within the group. We talk, but a lot of times we might not talk about everything. A lot of times we want to keep things, within ourselves, but we're becoming more and more open to discussions because several things need to be discussed. It's best to get it out than to hold it in internal. Okay?
Yeah, and I think that's so important, especially for black men.
Right.
I mean, women have that. Like, we going to talk to each other.
Right.
We going to cry. We going to do all of that. But I think a lot of, especially black men, they hold things in. You know what I mean? They won't talk about it.
Right.
Why do you think that's a challenge for black men?
It's a challenge for black men. I think initially, even thinking back and reminiscing about my childhood, I remember Dad telling me and my brothers a lot of times, if one of us got in trouble, to not cry, to hold it in, and and a lot of men growing up when we did, we didn't share tears because that's what we were taught. But then growing up, it started to become a reality that we need to get it out. We need to have discussions. We need to talk about things, and whether it's something challenging to us as our health, as our relationships, and even financial hardships. We just need to talk about it. Because if you talk about it, you might have more support than you realize. You might have something that you need to hear that can help guide you if you're in that funk, if you're just stuck. You need something supportive to guide you out of that. And that's our group. That's what we're all about: supporting, fellowshipping, having fun, and keeping it real.
So how has that group helped you personally?
It has helped me personally, growth. As far as growth and development, it's made me realize that it's never too late. Never too late to accomplish goals, to have dreams, no matter how old you are. It's never too late. But in order to do that, we need to be sound mentally, physically, and our health is important. So in order to get to a lot of our goals, we need to be, we need to have an overall conditioning of like I said, great health. And you need to have the mental capacity to move forward toward your goals. So it has helped me, even continue to dream big, to continue to say, you know what, I can do this. I didn't go. I went in the military out of high school, and it was always a goal of mine to one day go to college. And I knew I was smart enough to go to college, but the streets, it was fun being in the streets at that time in my early 20s, going into my 30s. So, I had my fun, had my share of fun. I don't regret that route, but I knew I could go to college. And then once I went to college, I was very successful. Just being an honor grad at each level. So I have 4 degrees now. So, it just led me to even realize that my earlier goals till now, they can still continue. It doesn't stop.
Right.
Right?
Right, and that's so good because, that's the thing, like when we open up to the possibility that we can have more, we can do more, and and that's in place for us.
Right.
And that's always been in place for us, but it just depends on how we see it. And so I think men talking, men sharing, it does allow you guys to open up so that you can continue to dream. Because I think as long as we on this planet, we can dream and we can do more.
Exactly.
Yeah, we don't have to get stuck and stay stuck.
That's right.
So that's really good. That's really exciting to hear. So with you improving in every aspect of your life or every area of your life. Just what has been the most critical thing for you in maintaining a positive outlook? Like what has helped you to maintain a positive outlook? I
What
guess.
is still being able to understand that life in itself is short and it's quick, and our daily living, leads us to, we can either make choices that helps us get better, improve, or, temptation or the devil is also out there as well. So, what's critical for me in maintaining is that knowing that every day, I have an opportunity, and it's not a choice for me no more, but it's an opportunity for me to talk to God, to pray every day, to lead me down a righteous path. So, it's critical that I have that conversation with Him, and not just once a day. Several times I step to the side, I pull myself to the side and just have a conversation. It could be one or two sentences, but I do. And I encourage others, and I try to, even based off of my past experiences and challenges, I try to, keep it going in a positive light for my own children. And I want to spread that out to them and even tell them that, you don't have to take this route.
Right.
Because you might bump into this wall. Try this. Try something else. So you won't have to hit this wall. Now, even in what has helped me continue even, maintaining that focus, all of our children, they have different personalities. All of my students have different personalities. And, I have one or two that will come back and say, well, no, I need to experience that for me to just, get through it myself. I want to experience that. But, I try to tell them, no, you don't have to experience that. If you don't need to, you don't have to do that, because I have.
Right, that's right.
Several people have.
Right.
So I'm trying to prevent you from going that route so you won't hit that wall. When I hit it, I was able to bounce through it, crush through it, and keep going. But you may not be.
That's right.
Because everybody's built differently.
That's right.
So just for me to maintain focus is to be able to just be consistent.
Like, do you have, like I heard you say, like you may step aside and, say a little short prayer. And I think that's good that you said it may be one or two sentences.
Right.
It doesn't have to be a long, drawn-out thing.
Right.
Because I think what we may not realize is that, like, and this is why we got to pay attention to our thinking, because every thought we have is really like a prayer. You know what I mean? It's really like, and that's why when we maintain a positive attitude and we send our prayers up from that space,
Right.
then it puts us more in alignment with who God says that we are.
Exactly.
And we can get the results we're seeking quicker.
Right.
I mean that's just how I see it.
Hey, great insight.
But a routine. Do you have like a routine? Anything that do you have like a morning ritual that you do to help put yourself in a positive mindset, or it's just, or you don't? That ain't something that you do.
No, my morning ritual is before my feet hit the floor. I have that conversation,
Yeah.
and I'm grateful.
Yeah.
Several people didn't wake up this morning, but I'm grateful that you allow me to open my eyes. That's my ritual. And then my ritual is also talking to myself and telling myself, okay, it's going to be a great day.
That's right.
Let's get this energy flowing.
That's right.
So I can remember, talking to my wife or talking to my daughters when they were younger, and I would be up. They say, Dad, how you have so much energy? Why you, everybody, you must be a morning person. No, I'm a person that God woke up.
That's right.
And I have this energy because I want to take it into my day.
Right.
And so I'm going to have that magic Monday,
Right.
that terrific Tuesday.
That's right.
The wonderful Wednesday, the thankful Thursday, and the fantastic Friday. So that's how I go about my week.
Yeah. That's good. That's real good.
So that's just been my own personal ritual. Has anybody ever asked me that? No, but that's a great question that you did, so
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, because I have one. I have a ritual.
Okay.
And I think like gratitude, like you spoke on that, just being in a spirit of gratitude. Like that's the first step, I think, just being grateful. I know for me, like, when I get up in the mornings, like I have a whole little I listen to this certain group of people.
Okay.
I'll do that, first 30 minutes. I'm a reader, so I'll spend 30 minutes just reading. And I don't read trash. I read something that's going to feed my mind, that's going to
Right.
feed my heart, that's going to
Absolutely.
feed my spirit.
Right.
Because I know I'm going to need all of that as I take on this day. So I asked about rituals because, I know that I have one.
Right.
And so it's good to hear that you have one too. But even if you didn't, I mean, it's still all good. People have to do what works best for them.
Right.
So, my brother's keeper, what does that mean to you? My brother's keeper.
My brother's keeper. To me, that means that I am here for my brother. I am one call away from my brother, one conversation away from my brother. I am here to support and to make sure that my brother understands that you never have to question my integrity, never have to question my ability or my capabilities to stand with you in time of need, in time of challenges. That to me is the important aspect of what my brother's keeper means to me. Right.
Right, and so that's so good because thinking about what you said about like how you start your day, like you first start with yourself, being grateful, and then speaking to yourself. Like doing that for yourself helps you to be able to have something to give to your brothers. Because I know a lot of people in these days and time, they have the idea of, it's just me and mine. I'm not really worried about anybody else.
Right.
But not realizing that attitude really cuts us off. We first take care of self, like you talked about, your whole spirit of gratitude and
Right.
then speaking to yourself. And then that keeps you full. In fact, it probably keeps your cup from running over. I mean, it keeps your cup running over.
Right.
And then you have that you can give to
Right.
others.
Right.
Yeah. So that's real good. And as far as I can remember about you, you've always been the type of person that, had other people in mind. Like you had brotherly love back in the day. There was a few of y'all that was a part of that little group, right?
Yeah, brother love. Yes, it was a few of us in that little group, my classmates, and we still have that conversation too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's fun, and it's also knowing, like I said, making sure everyone understands that, we have each other's back. And with that, comes patience. We have to be patient because, we're not always right about some of the decisions we make. So I have to be there to stand. And I know one of my classmates, you mentioned him a while ago, but I won't call a name, but even with him, trying to help him realize we're not where we were 20, 25 years ago. So we don't need to have those same actions. So I have to pull him back one particular night, not too long ago. Just pull him back and say, look here, get in here. Get in the car.
Yeah.
And so we rode around, and I talked to him. I said, basically, how can I come to Hart County to see you, but you're behind these other walls because of the decision you make. Does that make sense? But he got it. He got it. And but just those types of relationships, have to be patient, because I didn't have to. I could have just let him do what he wanted to do and let him face the consequences. But no, that's my brother. Can't let him go down that road.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So yeah, that's my brother. That's what my brother's keeper is all about.
Yeah, and I think that's It's so good. I'm so happy about the group that you have because, like, it's stretching beyond the typical, how do we be there for, like being there for our brother or your brother by just reminding them of why it's important that he's not behind bars.
Right.
But even
Right.
stretching beyond that, like, looking at, talking about those real critical issues about speaking on your depression if you feel depressed, like really digging in there and going beyond the surface,
Right.
and creating a safe place for each other. Because I think a lot of men don't do that because they don't feel safe,
Right.
or it's against societal policies for you to talk about how you feel. But because men don't talk about how they feel, they're dying too soon.
Right.
You know what I mean? They have health issues that's related to just that holding stuff in. And so whether you realize it or not, that type of work, that you guys do with each other is helping each other to live longer.
Absolutely.
And to live in a more quality way. Now you can have real relationships,
Right.
relationships that are sustained over time.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
I mean, man, you helping to give life to others.
Right.
So that's dope to me.
Right. And we're giving life to each other, and it's fun, it's actually fun, and that's another ritual I have is even, by the time I get to work and then I'm at my desk, the group messages that we send out, I have a quote of the day that I send out, and I want and it's always something positive, and to make we all have our own viewpoints on our point of views on how we see several different things. We do. We have our point of views, and that's fine. But just to give my perspective on certain things, and then to hear the feedback, that helps us all to see things in a different light.
Have y'all had a chance to talk about the Will and Chris Rock deal?
Hey, you mentioned that, but you know what? I have to pull my phone out. I had it out, but even this morning, okay, in my group, I sent out this conversation, and it was very. A couple of us responded, not everybody. In this particular group, there are 8 of us. So I sent this out. What I said was, great Saturday morning, guys. I'm definitely grateful for this day and every day, to be exact. Are you? I'm grateful for family, friends, foes, and others. Are you? I'm grateful for the many blessings that God bestows upon my family and all of us. Are you? I hold no grudges against no one. I don't have the energy to carry any hate or negative energy in my spirit. How about you? Quote of the day: patience is when you're supposed to be mad, but you choose to understand instead. Let's choose to be grateful and patient, fellas. One love. So I sent out that this morning, and the response I got to that came from one of my guys, and of course, he just responded. And again, I'm not going to use names, but they're well known. But he said, "Good morning, Rod. It's like you're getting these gems right from my mind and life. You spoke of it as being patient. Are we all not elated that God showed us that patience? But he called it mercy. Good stuff, Carlton." That's my middle name, Carlton. So, and then I just, in response to that, and I have to give you the whole thing because you mentioned Chris Rock and Will, and it's a couple of more. I said, right on point, and I said its initials. I know that I'm elated. I also know that Chris Rock has tremendous patience. For example, he definitely has grace and mercy shown upon him through God. He could have actually acted like a whole fool after that infamous slap, but he understood. And the guy responded, for real. Someone said to me that Will acted like a N-word, and I said Chris acted like a black man with class. Honestly, I wish more of the memes reflected Chris's stance. But doing the right thing doesn't sell stuff. And I said, true, but it definitely sold out his shows. LOL. he actually won in the end. And he said, of course, the right thing will always get the final reward.
That's right.
And then another one of us said true. So that's, what you were talking about, that little bit of spill on how I started it off led to that, the conversation about Chris and Will. And, but again, patience is the key word, So, we have a lot of that going on from day to day, those conversations. So it really does help us all.
Yeah, and I think that, what we saw with that Will and Chris incident, it's just, again, it talks about the importance of men sharing. Because, to me, it just seemed like Will probably had a lot of pent-up things, and just, and was triggered and just did not manage the triggering properly. Because it's never okay to assault anybody. It's never okay.
Never.
And, and Chris probably intuitively knew that he was just, it had nothing to do with him. And managed it well.
He managed it very well.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't really know, and I'm not really trying to make this whole conversation about Will and Chris, but I do believe that the stories say that Chris participates in counseling. Like he does this counseling thing. And for him, that probably came into play in terms of how he managed that situation. Just having that kind of support, talking to somebody about his issues,
right,
so that he's not overwhelmed like Will seemed to have been
right,
on that particular night.
Right.
So men having an outlet, men talking, men sharing, I just think that it's just a gift. And I hope that you guys continue to be that sort of support for each other.
Right.
So
I'm sure we will. It's been about this group thing. It's probably, of course, we've been together all of our lives, but as far as the grouping, it's been between 8 and 10 years now. So we've been going pretty consistent with that. Yeah,
you guys have fun, and then you take on the more serious aspects of your life.
We do.
Like your heart and your mind by this group texting and stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. My guys, we had a brother passed away back in 2018, and for them to all gather over my dad's house and just share these 3-4 days with the family meant a lot to me at the particular time. Again, my brother's keeper. That we show support like that. We all, like I said earlier, we all go through different things, different challenges. And every time it's not a happy time. But we still there regardless. It's always about one love.
What would you say is some of the best advice you've been given by someone? What is something that kind of stands out to you that has been helpful to you along the way?
Well, my dad told me this. He said several things throughout the years, but this was in particular. I believe I was in elementary school. Pretty sure I was. But he had told me, being the oldest son, the oldest child, to always take care of your family. Always look out for your family. And even with that, all the way to now, again, this common term that we've been talking about, my brother's keeper, the one love. It goes back to my childhood, actually. Just being there for my brothers and sisters. And that's what it's all about. When my dad told me, always take care of your family, I took that to heart. And that's what I mean when I say it. I'm there for my brothers. I'm there for my family. So that was one early thing that was said to me that always stuck with me all these years. So.
So, and being the oldest, right? Yeah, you're the oldest, right? So, yeah, so that kind of required you to take on a certain level of leadership also.
Leadership, responsibility, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Right.
So you think your brother Jay look up to you in the same way as, your guy friends?
That's a great question. We never had that discussion. But if I was taking an educated guess, I would think so. I would believe so.
Yeah.
I would believe Jay. I mean, you mentioned Jay, but also others.
Yeah.
I know Stacy.
Yeah.
Well, we're calling names, but hey, people know them.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. They
So
know
yes,
us, yeah.
I know Stacy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know there are others too, but yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure there are some things that you also gain from them also.
Of course. Of course. I've always said about Jay, he's outspoken. He has that kind of edge. I have edges, but I've always been more of the quiet one, and leading by example. But I can talk when I need to.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to.
Yeah.
I'm just more reserved than he is. That's all.
Yeah, Jay comes with his own inner resources.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I remember Jay and I developing a little special relationship when we were in high school. He was always just everything you just said. That was Jay, and everybody loved that about Jay.
Right.
Let's see, what else I have here. So what do you do when negative thoughts creep in? What do you do?
Well, when negative thoughts creep in, it's just a thought.
Yeah.
But I immediately push it out of the mind. That's something that I've learned to do a long time ago, and it's part of one book that I read years ago called The Secret. That book showed me a lot as far as these internal thoughts. Manifestation. Thinking positive, keeping it positive. If something creeps in that's negative, it automatically leaves. I don't do negativity. I try not to.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't like negative energy. I don't like that negative spirit, even in my workplace. So yes, when something negative creeps in, a lot of us, just me too, I'm only human. You might want to entertain that thought, whatever that negative thought is.
Right.
You might want to entertain it for a second.
Right.
For a few seconds. But it's all about making the right choices, the best decisions for myself. So I push it out.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, because if we think on those negative thoughts long enough, they're gonna take root.
Of course.
I know me personally, and my daughter reminds me this all the time. Like I talk to myself too, and especially when I'm driving, because I drive a lot, and so then I just find myself just affirming myself. I'll say something over and over again. And I remember my daughter, even as when she was younger, when she would ride with me more, she would say, I just wonder why my mom is doing that. But now she told me just the other day, Mom, I start doing that also. Just affirming. Because the reason why that's important is because if we have something in play or in place, when a negative thought comes, we'll also have something that'll push it away.
Absolutely.
Because the more if we feel negative and a negative thought is born out of that or coming to that, it's easy to buy into it.
Right.
But if you have something that can block it, and I think, affirmations or feeling a certain way about yourself, feeling worthy, feeling good about yourself, it'll push that negativity away a lot easier.
Right.
So, we got to have some, and we got to do things preventatively, like that waking up in the spirit of gratitude. See, that's prevention.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's preventing that negative stuff and settling in me. And I'm going to do it every day, whether I'm dealing with something negative or not.
Right.
Because when something negative does show up, I'm already in the game.
There you go.
You know what I mean? I'm
go.
already ahead of it.
Yes.
So I think that kind of stuff is important for all of us.
Right.
The church, what role does the church play in your life if any? And I know that may be, I don't know
Well,
if that's too sensitive of a question, but
no, it's not actually. There were different levels with me as far as being, a younger child. Church was, I'll say it. Church was we were made to go to church. It was pushed on us. We went to Sunday school and church every Sunday. And as I got older, I continued that tradition. But right now, currently, my own personal relationship, is what's important with me, to me, with God. My own personal. I'm not a member of any particular church, but what I do is I may attend a church, but at the same time, if I decide not to, I do watch a lot of live sessions. My wife, she watches a lot of live with the church she's more affiliated with than I am. But it's nothing that it's nothing against anything. It's just the fact that, if she's watching, and then I'll chime in and watch or whatever. But it's no particular affiliation that I do have. Now here in Hart County, I'm still a member of Sardis Baptist Church. I was baptized there at a young age. But again, my own personal relationship with God is what I value and what I cherish. And that's what I do believe,
Yeah, it's always been about that relationship.
Right.
Even if you are a person that goes to church every single Sunday,
right.
Bottom line is the relationship that you have
right.
with God.
Right.
It doesn't matter about the preacher, the people in the church. The bottom line is what type of relationship do you have.
Right. Right.
So I think that's good, and I think it's important for people to hear that and to understand that. That bottom line is the relationship.
Most important.
And I was just saying to somebody earlier this morning, is like with that relationship, like the more connected you are to God or in that relation, the more invested you are in that relationship, that determines what you will and will not do. Like. Because that relationship empowers us. That's why I've started this whole thing. Like, I just really believe in empowerment because it changes the whole trajectory of our life. If I'm in a good relationship with God, if I'm in a good relationship with self, then I'm probably going to make good decisions. And so that relationship I just think it is the bottom line.
Right.
What is that like? How am I feeding that? Whether I go to a church building or not.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
And maybe this may be our last question, but do you see black men as being resistant to therapy? And if so, what do you think might be a contributing cause to that?
I do see a lot of men being or having resistance to therapy. I do. But I also think a lot of that is changing. Especially, since this pandemic took over in March of 2020. That whole shutdown has caused a lot of us, male, female, anxiety attacks, depression. There have been several situations to where, I've seen people just not being able to deal with this shutdown. Me personally, didn't bother me at all. I read a lot, look at a lot of documentaries, keep myself busy, my mind busy. But I think a lot of men in particular, they are resistant to it because that's just like health too, Cathy. A lot of men doesn't like to get that annual physical. They don't want to get checked out the way they should be because they're afraid. They're afraid to have that conversation, as with counseling or whatever. But they're afraid to sit down in front of people and have that conversation. What may they be afraid of? Hey, I don't know. You know, I haven't had that particular conversation with any of my fellows about it, but you know, I do know that just by reading and listening, and you know, and watching different documentaries, and you know, even other social media outlets, I do know men are afraid to have that discussion. You know, what may be the internal conflict within their own self. You know, and that goes way back to their childhood. Is also, you know, a lot of guys, especially older guys, I think, you know, when they were told not to cry, or when we were playing sports, get up, you know, rub some alcohol on it. You might have a broken hand, you rubbing alcohol on it. You know?
Right. That's right. Yeah.
But you know, we just told to hold it in.
Yeah.
You know, and men still do that. They just aren't ready to have these tough conversations of what's going on within them, in their minds.
Yeah, it's to me they're just two emotions. In my mind, it's either we either living in fear or we living in love. You know, and I think the more in love we are living, the more empowered we are.
Okay.
And so, you know, fear, they don't move forward, or may not take care of themselves in the way that they should. You know, talking to somebody, probably because of fear.
Right.
You know, fear of the unknown. You
Exactly.
know, fear of having to be honest. Because the thing about being healthy is it requires us to be honest.
We have to.
You know what I mean? And then that honesty may require us to make certain changes. So health-wise, if you love eating pig's feet and you know this leading to your high blood pressure, I don't want to talk about it because I don't want to give up them pig feet.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
That's it.
So you know, it's just, you know, being healthy requires honesty, and it takes a lot of courage to be honest.
Absolutely.
Your legacy, what would you want it to be? Like if you were to leave this planet right when this discussion is over, what would you want people to know about you? What would you want your legacy to be?
I would want my legacy to be about change for the good, for the positive, because anybody can make that change. You know, from my early 20s to now, there's been changes. Every different, you know, 10 years, 5 years, whatever. There's been changes for the better. And you know, my legacy will probably, you know, go down as far as someone who used to be this way, but now he's this way.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, he's turned this around this way.
Yeah.
You know, he's back fighting all the time, doing this. You know, that's what it is. People talk about that stuff still. And you know, that's what I went through. You know, those were my earlier days. That was in me. Again, a lot of those situations come from taking care of your family, standing there for your brother. But now the decisions I make is based upon right. I can't go around and slap somebody.
Right, that's right.
You know, that's an assault.
Right.
That's time behind bars.
Right.
Can't do that.
Right.
So my legacy will I would want it to be like, you know, change. He was one brother from that time, but look at him now. Look where he was now. You know, but you know, it can be done. People can be successful, regardless of what they go through.
That's right.
You know, people can, you know, be happy. People can find joy, something that makes you happy. You know, so I would want people to understand that. You know, yeah, he used to do such and such, but now, you know, every time I saw him, he was trying to be, you know, encouraging and supportive, and yeah, see that's what I'm about.
Yeah.
You know.
Right. I think that's an amazing legacy, because that is the one thing that we can count is change.
Right.
You know, and being able to go with it. When now your life is requiring you to do something different, you
Right.
just go with it.
Right.
I think that keeps us from being stuck. And so the ability to go with it and to change, regardless of what people may remember you as,
Right.
like I think that's a great testament to you.
Right.
So with that, let me just thank you so much for being a part of this YouTube show with me. Thank you so much. I hope you can come back again. I know we talked about doing something for Father's Day
Okay.
with some
Yeah.
other people.
Okay.
Also, I cannot leave this setting without talking about how purposed our relationship has been over the years. Like, we started out on this level, you know, like really the same thing we're doing right now.
Right.
We're still doing that same thing. And to me, and we talked about this a little bit before the recording, like to me, I think that's so beyond awesome. I'm leaving here today, sitting here with you today, leaving this recording, just being in awe of you as a successful black male who is trying to pass that on to others. Like, I have so much respect for you. And I know that you will continue to do great things. Thank you so much.
Well, I thank you for having me, Cathy. It's been a pleasure and a joy to sit across from you and just have this discussion. And again, I am open, you know, I'm open to having more discussions. I think, you know, these type of discussions can help many people. So let's continue to be great.
Let's do.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.